What's up, guys? Erroneous here, back with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and boy, we are going to have an insane fragment champion that's starting next week on February 8th, so you're going to not want to miss this one. Let's get it. All right, y'all, you're not going to want to miss this one. So we've got some information in the chat today. So on Thursday, February 8th, they're planning on launching a champion fragment event with a new champion named White Queen Anora. She's going to be from the Knights Revenant faction, a legendary support-based champion, and she is magic affinity, and she looks sweet. White Queen Anora is a tanky champ with a focus on supporting fellow allies that will be helpful with both PvE and PvP content. White Queen Anora will have a synergy with another champion, White King Narciss. That is going to be a Void Legendary champion. Let's take a closer look at Ancora's kit. With the help of A1, Necrobolt, Ancora can manipulate cooldowns, helping her allies to use their skills faster, along with some extra healing if the cooldown is fully reset. That's insane. Using the A2, Shield of Amaria, White Queen Ancora cleanses all debuffs from all allies, shields them from damage by placing a shield debuff for 2 turns. Interesting that it says shield debuff. I think they mean shield buff. A little bit of a grammatical mistake there, but it's all good. And then fills their turn meter by 10%. And if White King Narciss is on the same team, also places a strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns. Also super powerful. Ancora's A3, Rise of My Love, is a single target revive skill that resets all cooldowns of the revived ally. Also, after the revival, she decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 10%. I thought that said 100. I was like, whoa, 10%. If the revived ally is Ancora's companion, White King Narciss, she revives him with 100% turn meter, giving him a chance to attack right away because once he's revived, White Queen Ancora decreases the enemy's turn meter by 20%. That's insane. That is insane. And this effect cannot be resisted. The turn meter reduction effect from her ability. The passive skill, Queen Consort, looks absolutely insane as Ancora saves the ally with the highest crit damage from the control debuffs, placing them on herself instead. If she misses her turn due to one of the debuffs, she actually boosts her turn meter by 50%, so it's nice for her to try to get back into the battle as quickly as possible and take another turn. If White King Narciss is on the same team, White Queen Ancora will remove any control debuffs from herself at the start of her turn, so she's absolutely insane. So let's hop over and take a look at White Queen Ancora. All right, so we've got White Queen Ancora here. She looks amazing. Of course, Knights Revenant faction. Knights Revenant does have a lot better champions coming into their faction. Of course, they do have already really strong champions, but it's just getting better and better as time goes on. So Necrobolt, let's read off these abilities. She attacks an enemy, 30% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random ally skill by 2 turns except herself. That would be 2 OP. If White King Narciss is on the same team and has any active skills on cooldown, decreases the cooldown of one of their skills by 2 turns. If White King Narciss is on the same team and has no active skills on cooldown, decreases the cooldown of a random ally's skill by 2 turns except this champion. That is absolutely bonkers. Of course, White King Narciss needs to be on the team to be insane. If the cooldown of a skill is fully reset, it also heals the ally by 10% of her max HP. It is booked out to a 50% chance of decreasing the cooldown of a random ally's skill by 2 turns. That's insane. But with White King, you don't have to worry about that cooldown. So, yeah, that's wild. That is actually wild. A2, Shield of Amaria, removes all debuffs from all allies. Places a shield buff on them equal to 25% of her max HP for 2 turns. That's insane, right? That's so strong. Okay, so far she's chalking up to be an insane support champion for a fragment champion. And just from her A1 and her A2 so far, you're going to want to go for this champion. She seems insane so far. If White King Narciss is on the same team, also places a strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns, then fills the turn meter of all allies by 10%. So she's got so much buffs going on and turn meter control, it's pretty insane. So that's booked down to a 3 turn, which is very, very good. Rise My Love. So revives a dead ally with 50% HP, 75% turn meter. That's very strong. And resets the cooldown of the revived ally's skills. Jeez, dude, that's insane. If the target is White King Narciss, revives them with 75% HP, 100% turn meter instead. After the revival, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 10%. More turn meter control. If White King Narciss is revived, decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 20% instead, and this effect cannot be resisted. So the A3 also absurd. So you're definitely gonna want to go for her. She's so crazy so far. Queen Consort passive. Whenever an enemy tries to place a fear, true fear, provoke, sleep, a stun, or a petrification debuff on an ally with the highest crit damage, transfer those debuffs to this champion instead. Fills the turn meter of this champion by 50% if this champion misses their turn due to one of these debuffs. That's without Narciss on the team. At the start of this champion's turn, removes fear, true fear, same as the top portion, debuffs from this champion if White King Narciss is on the same team. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. And this is passive, if it's booked out, has no cooldown whatsoever, which is insane. That's insane. This champion is freaking ridiculous. The A3 also has a 3-turn cooldown. She also has a speed aura in all battles by 19%. She's going to be insane everywhere in the game. Hydra, Arena, Tag Team, everywhere in Arena, everywhere PvE wise. Insane for Doom Tower hard floors. Like, she's going to be one of the strongest champions that you're going to want to own for Doom Tower progression pushing. She's going to be so insane. Like, you need to get this champion. That's how good she is. And of course, she's going to be even stronger with White King Narciss. So let's hop over to White King Narciss and check out his kit. All right, so we've got White King Narciss here. This guy looks also incredible. The designs, they just kill it with the designs as always, Plarium. Freaking amazing. They just look so freaking cool. I really want this guy. I've already read his kit because I was too excited to read his kit after I took a look at the White Queen Narciss or Anora, and she is just insane. So I was like, I got to read this guy's kit beforehand, and holy crap, mind blown. This is going to be a new meta. This is going to be absurd. Like, people are going to want to go for this guy big time. This is going to be the new meta, taking over Arena potentially if he has good multipliers, because he's going to go crazy against the Marichka and Taras duo. Also other champions as well, like Rhodos and things like that. So let me go through his kit and you'll understand why. Attacks one enemy on the Corruption Scepter. Has a 30% chance of randomly increasing the cooldown of one of the target's skills by 2 turns. Already insane. This effect cannot be resisted if White Queen and Anora is on the same team. It books out to a 50% chance. That's crazy. A2. Desecration Blast. Attacks all enemies, ignores 25% of the target's defense, places an extra hit on targets under shield or strengthen. Guess what? Mithrala, goodbye, shield and strengthen. Marichka, goodbye, shield and strengthen, ignoring defense. Plus you put the Helm Smasher, plus you put the lethal, and he just goes nuts. And nowadays you're going to be collecting Merciless gear, or you're going to collect the Rathalos gear, but more likely people are going to want to put, the lethal or Merciless gear on this guy. It's going to be crazy. This is going to be absolutely insane. Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or masteries. Goodbye, Harima. Bye. Except by the passive skills of the bosses. Very similar to a Corrado Fox Hunter, right? Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be increased by either this champion's masteries or ally passive skills, except when attacking bosses. And that's on a 3-turn cooldown if you book it out. A3, Spirits Claim You. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Increases the damage inflicted with this skill by 10% for each buff on the target. Stacks up to 50%. Guess who gets a lot of buffs? Taras. Guess who puts on buffs? Elva. Guess who puts on more buffs? Duchess. Guess who puts on more as many buffs as Duchess or more? Sifi. This guy's going to be nuts. And by additional 10%, so damage stacks up by additional 10% for each buff on this champion and stacks up to 50%. If this attack kills a target under 3 or more buffs, places a block revive debuff on them. Jeez. So if he kills Rhodos, goodbye Rhodos, sit down, you're done. So you know who I'm thinking about, who I watch a lot of his videos, is Sheeny and his Rhodos and his +2 Rhodos. Oh man, Sheeny, I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, brother. Your boy Rhodos is going to be in the dirt by this guy if he has good multipliers. There's so many players that are, top end Arena that are going to be severely impacted by this guy, but also they're going to be wanting to go for this guy. Everybody's going to want to get this guy. So Void Legendary, that actually can be a huge contender, a huge meta shift for arena if this guy actually is what he says he is. On paper, looks insane so far. But you know how that works. Sometimes on paper they look insane, just like that one dude, the Void Legendary with the Monster Hunter, Fatalis Blade Master, and he ended up being absolute garbage, but he has an insane kit, but he can't hit for crap. So if this guy is similar to Fatalis because he's also HP based, and usually HP based nukers don't really scale very high with their multipliers, then that's going to be a little bit of a problem. But HP based damage dealers do a really solid job at survivability in elongated fights, and usually they win over time unless the team has absolutely monstrous attack based champions like Georgia and stuff like that, and they can kill you with one hit. But with reaction present in the game and more high-end players putting on reaction, you'd want to probably put reaction on this guy so he doesn't go down too, and that just makes him even more tankier. So let's continue on with this A3 here. If this attack kills an enemy, yes, block revive. Also grants an extra turn if this attack kills an enemy when White Queen Anora is on the same team. That's on a 4-turn cooldown. So this pairing this duo is gonna be insane. On his passive, this champion will receive 50% less damage when attacked by enemies, including bosses and their minions, out of their active turn. So again, Taras Marichka duo. Every time you hit Marichka, guess who attacks you? Taras with his A2. That's one of his biggest hitting abilities next to his AoE ability. And it does so much damage. Now, will it block the stun? No, but Anora will take that stun away from him, which is insane, right? So next, we've got Rhodos. Rhodos, when you hit him, his passive comes into effect if for some reason you don't kill him. So say they have a UDK. He hits 2 times. One enemy 2 times, which are going to go for Rhodos. First hit goes into UDK. Second hit goes into Rhodos. Doesn't kill him. Procs his passive. And guess what? He takes 50% less damage from Rhodos' attack, from that initial attack. Of course, Rhodos then takes another turn. But, you know, he might take a lot less damage, right? So that's huge. At least I think that's how I'm reading it, if I'm reading it correctly. So, I mean, you know, also against Venus-Cupidus couple, Cupidus, when it's not his turn, will take less damage, but it does say, I haven't even finished the passive. If White Queen and Anora is on the same team, this champion will receive no damage when attacked by enemies out of their active turn. So no damage from the Taras, no damage potentially from Rhodos, no damage from the Cupidus teams. You know, it just keeps going crazy, right? So this is insane for a passive. This effect does not apply against bosses and their minions, and this champion's skills will also ignore shield and strengthen buffs. So again, huge counter to Marichka Taras, huge counter to other champions like Mithrala and Ragash, for example. Ragash places strengthen on himself and the team. So yeah, I mean, this is insane. And then good against the Pythion. Pythion revives, puts strengthen. He ignores the strengthen. I mean, he's just going to counter everything if he has good multipliers. Increase ally HP in all battles by 33%. This guy is nuts. This guy's absolutely nuts. So he's going to be an insane champion, especially with White Queen and Anora. Of course, it's almost impossible to get this guy unless you pay for the Void Shards. But if you get lucky and you have tons of Void Shards saved up, then maybe you'll get lucky and pull this guy. So who knows? We'll see what happens. I'm definitely going to go for this Fragment Champion in Anora, and I'm going to try my best to pull shards for this guy too whenever they do an event for him. It's just going to be an insane meta-changing duo if they actually meet the expectations that we have right now. So anyways, tell me what you think down below. Do you think this guy's going to be amazing? Do you think it's just going to be another Fatalis Blade Master? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you on a video soon. Take care.